Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to We Have Something to Say. Uh, there's a lot to say this week, depending on what you want to talk about. Particularly when you're
There's a lot
talking to
going
two,
on.
particularly when you're talking to two men over 55 about another man that's over 55. They just seem to have just thrown away everything he worked for.
Oh,
Because
is
I've
it?
had quite a few people say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Um, uh, and I'll let Kenneth go first because I gotta drop screen and do something else right quick. But go ahead, Kenneth. Let me turn
All
this
right.
Instagram
So
live on.
this is something that this I have this is broke. I break it down to two different things. Well, three actually. That three things that entered my mind when I saw this. One, he's dumb as hell. I have friends that like younger women, my age, our age, that love younger women, and always complaining about how younger women don't understand them or they all about money, blah blah blah, and all this. And I'm like, so why do you mess with them? I don't understand that. Why would you, at our age, want to deal with somebody that young, 19, 20 years old? The level of maturity is nowhere near yours. At least it shouldn't be anyway. If she's just as mature as you, that's a problem. You have a problem for real. But just to say, okay, yeah, I was kicking it with a 19, 20-year old, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that. I have never, you, Leonard, you're a father of two daughters, right? You have two
Yep,
daughters, right?
yep.
Would you ever consider dating somebody their age?
No.
Right. And your daughters are probably what, they're in the late 20s, early 30s, something like that.
One of my daughters in her early 30s, and my other daughter is just turned 30. Is in her early 30s.
Yeah.
30,
So
30 is a totally different thing than 20. But I still would be
I
like
even
pushing
then,
it.
yeah, yeah. Even
Right.
and my
Still be like
daughter, my
pushing it.
daughter's 25 or 26 now, actually. Oh,
Right.
happy birthday again, baby. But she's 26. There's no
Yeah,
way in hell I would date somebody my daughter's age. Not
she
even
had to be
close.
she had to be an impressive 30-year-old for my daughters to say, I get it, Dad.
I mean, I
She
mean, and it's hold up. Now let me ask you though, and it's not just the physical thing with
right,
me.
right. She had to be impressive. Yeah,
Because
right.
I know some. You and I went to school with some women who are in their 50s that are gorgeous, still got it going on in their 50s, damn near 60 years old. I can think of two of them off the top of my damn head, just like that. So I mean, I always I tell people all the time. I was like, I said the only thing a young girl can do for me is give me her mama's phone number. That's it. That's it. I don't care how good looking you are, how fine you are. You could be, was it fine as frog hair? You could be the baddest thing walking this earth, and there was no way I would even consider doing anything like that. Also, and was it
Like
Marion says eagle?
I might say, can I watch? Can I watch? I might say, can I watch you walk away?
Now
That's
to
what
say
I just
one
told
thing, I will. Hey, I will feel good. My ego will be stroked for real.
Hey,
It will be stroked.
I literally told my daughter this morning. I probably if I was divorced at a bar and a 20 or 22-year-old approached me at a bar, I would. That's literally what I say. I would say my first question would be off top. How old are you? That would be my first question.
Yeah, yeah.
I would look and that'd be my first top. Hey, how old are you? And she says, I'm 22, 23. I go, you a gorgeous woman, but I'm not dipping in my son's kiddie pool. That's what I would
Yeah,
say.
okay.
But I appreciate it. I needed it.
And she hand her phone number, say, yeah, get this to your mom and tell her to give me a call. Actually, hell, let me see your mama. Let me see a
I
picture of
need
your
it.
mama. Shit, get your
Yeah,
mama. Tell your mama to
yeah.
give me a call. And even then, because think about this. if you have a 20-something-year-old, chances are their mother is like maybe in her 40s, early 40s. To me, that's pushing it. That is pushing it. So for him to do that makes no sense to me. You gain nothing, dude. Last year, was it last year, year before, when the tape leaked about him having sex with the woman? Dude, you got your props. You got your props. What else do you need for your ego to do? You making all this money, doing all this stuff, being on ESPN. You got your podcast. You got this going on, that going on.
About to sign
Dude,
$100 million. You about to sign $100 million deal, and
right.
and the kicker on this is she's making more money than you right now, because I promise you she's had 1 million people go to her OnlyFans. Promise you. Promise you. So whether you pay her or not, I promise you she's had that many people go to her OnlyFans, and I ain't mad at her. I'm not. I'm just like, okay. Here's my thing, and I remembered this after this episode, after this hit this week. And I don't know, look, we all come to the table at over 50 with our own experiences, wisdoms, whatever it is that you have, we come to the table. I remember when he didn't date Nicole Murphy for a while. And I was like, what? And I was like, Nicole Murphy's bad. She's a gorgeous woman. Yeah, Nicole. Okay, well, name somebody else. I think Nicole Murphy works out, takes care of herself. I don't know anything about her personality, nothing, zero. I know nothing about her. I'm talking about that's what you're doing just with looks. Because there's a lot of it's a lot of women his age, our age, who are single, who are physically gorgeous. Physically gorgeous. And dude, we ain't doing what we did at 19 anyway. Period. Physical. I don't give a fuck who you are.
And even beyond that, not just being the gorgeous, being gorgeous physically, but also the mentality. What the hell would I have to talk to with a 19, 20-year-old? Maybe it's me that if I want a woman of substance, I want to be able to have a conversation. If we, like the other day, was it Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday? I posted on my page a Luther song, and I said, if you don't know nothing about this, we can't even be friends. And I mean that wholeheartedly. If you don't know who Luther is, and you don't know, we can't have a conversation about a Luther song, and I'm sitting down reminiscing, man, that Luther song right there. When that played, I was down at Tuskegee. I told my boys, if you come to my room and you hear Luther playing, that means I got company. Keep it moving. That was that. And actually, that's what I did say. If you hear Luther playing in my room, I either got company or I'm studying. Either way, leave me alone. And that's how I felt. And I tell people that all the time. That was my thing. So if you can't relate to what I'm talking about, you can't relate to a Luther song, we can't even have a conversation. What are we going to talk about? The latest TikTok dance? I mean, really, what are we going to talk about? I don't understand that. And the other part of it too, the men's obsession with these women who are Instagram models and OnlyFans, whatever they call them. I don't understand that, because the women that they clamoring for, that they kill themselves to be with, they're just
why easy.
I'm trying to put the best way to say this. There's nothing special about them.
What do you mean?
I mean, they're nice looking, but bruh, you live in Atlanta. I have lived in Atlanta. I've lived in Washington, D.C. I told somebody, I said, man, you can stand on any street corner in downtown Atlanta, throw a rock in any direction, and hit 10 badass women with jobs, women of substance, just like that. Just throw a rock and hit 10 of them in any direction.
I think we need to be real careful when we say, here's what I say about, number one, here's what I say about OnlyFans or anybody that does that type of work for a living. I'm very, very careful about how I characterize a person who I don't know, just based on their social profile. Because women's beauty is their currency. We both know that. We know that beauty is a genetic thing that you have nothing to do with. You come out looking good to a certain amount of people. You come out not being attracted to a certain amount of people. And some people just they're attracted to more people. I no longer place a characterization on who they are because of what they do. And so I don't know if you're saying they aren't special because they're pretty. No, I don't think your beauty makes you special.
That's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not diminishing anything that their lifestyle or how they make their money now. I as long as what they're doing is legal, I don't care. I'm talking about the fact of let's just stick with our community, the Black community. There are gorgeous women all around us, and I know that may sound sexist and stuff like that, but we're talking purely physical, and that's what I'm talking about.
Let me add on that. What about what it comes across to me as, and then I'm gonna let you take the floor for a minute. What it comes across to me as, and this is where I'm so disappointed in him in, it's like you just said, bruh, there are women 35 and up in the millions that you have access to who are single, who are just as stunning as her.
Actually, but who are grown. Actually, she's really not that good looking to be in my
right. Well, I mean, whatever his taste
average. And it's not. I'm not trying to diminish her thing, but
yeah, you just.
I'm looking and I'm like, come on, man.
You saying to you she's not attractive, and that's cool. I'm just saying there's plenty of women 35 and up who are stunning, who are grown as women, who would love to have the chance to probably get to know him, right?
And it ain't about money.
And let's just say worst case scenario. Even if it was, you chose a 19-year-old. Like, huh? Like, you chose. I'm not even gonna talk about what she does for a living. I'm just talking about even if because my daughter and I had this conversation one. Even if she was one of those young ladies who looks up to older. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I'm sick of dealing with young boys. Blah 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 blah. Come on, bro. That for what? Like you could go from here on up to your age, and you totally outnumbered if that's what you're going to do. Yeah. But even Monique told him that, which is that was a wild video shot. Not my daughter. No. But see, here's the thing, Miss Tammy. Here's the thing. Let me tell you this as I know as a father. You know this too. When your 19-year-old daughter decides she wants something that she wants, and she decides to go after it, even though she's your daughter, you can't watch her 24/7. Now that does not mean that he still should have been like, nah. Like me and Kenneth said, we're like, man, I appreciate you, but you really boosted my ego.
And that I'm not putting any blame for this whole stuff. Well, let's say this. I'll say this. It was a setup from Jump Street. She set him up from Jump Street.
I don't agree.
No. The fact that they did all this.
They've been dating for 4 years.
Huh?
For 4 years.
Oh, they've been kicking it for 4 years?
You met her when she was 19 or 20.
I thought she's 19 now.
No, she's not 19 now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, she's not 19 now.
I didn't know. I thought she was 19 now.
She's shrewd. Let me tell you why she's shrewd. Me and my daughter talk about this. She's shrewd enough to understand to look up Tony Busby. That's
the attorney.
Particular attorney. Call him, get in touch with him, and then drop the bomb. They're dumb in the sense that I would have let him sign his contract first. I'm not gonna kill the goose that's laying the golden egg. He's dumb enough. I don't know why he didn't take the 10 million that Shannon said he offered. Why didn't you take the 10 million? Tony Busby, why didn't you take the 10 million? We're discussing Shannon Sharp. She said, what we're talking about.
Okay, Ethelbert, I'm gonna need you to keep up. I'm gonna need you to keep up now.
This one of your family members?
Nah. She's what is she? Oh, we used to work together.
Okay. Yeah. So me and Kenneth still I've had these conversations with my friends. I'm like, what's the allure? Yeah, after you look, what's the allure? Is it your ego could be boosted in 5 minutes, but you don't have to take it on for what's the allure? It's just too many.
And that's the point I'm trying to make. What does she have to offer? I mean, maybe she.
Yes, Monique could tell him that.
Yeah, she may be a brilliant conversationalist and all that. She may have maybe a genius and all that. Could be. I don't know. I don't know her. But with me, you would have to be a very, very, very impressive 20-year-old to catch my attention and hold my attention. Now you walk into it and you got, boom, like bam, boom, and all that. Okay, that'll get my attention, but you got to hold my attention. And it takes more than just beauty to hold my attention. And it should with him. But once again, it's an ego thing.
Bro,
it's funny because
he has an insatiable ego then. Would you agree? He has an insatiable
ego. Does. Because that whole thing with the audio tape of him having sex with the woman and all that. He parlayed that into a contract with Rose Sparks.
Look, matter of fact,
that shit keeps popping on. I'm like, why does this keep popping? It's funny. The algorithm and all that. I keep saying to myself, why does Rose Sparks shit keep popping up on my Facebook feed? Are they trying to tell me something?
No.
I said every two or three things is popping up, and I'm like,
all the time.
Damn, is it trying to tell me something? Is something I don't know? I know it's an algorithm. But why does this shit keep popping up? I know I'm on knocking on the door, about to kick in the door 60, but goddamn, but But my whole thing with all of this is this: he should have known better. Period. Should have known better. Number two, his well, that's number two. There. Number three, he has too much to lose. Too much to lose. He's actually making more money now than he did when he played football.
Hey, look, can I say this? Look, I'm happy Monique is now coming out as a wise sage after the beating she done took the last 5 years. Because it sure boosted her profile. You have a lot to say about it. No, don't keep it to yourself, Tammy. That's the whole point you've been on. You want me to send you an invite? We need a woman to come on and say something.
Oh, you don't want to have the bird on. You don't want to have the bird on him, man. No, don't open that. Don't open that. Don't open that shit. Don't open that. No, open that.
We need a woman's point of view. I have no problem. He's scared. I ain't scared. Oh no. Speak your mind, Tammy. Speak your mind.
But what Marion said, ain't no fool like an old fool. Yeah. My thing with him is he needs to grow the fuck up. He really needs to grow up. And that's bottom line. He needs to grow.
No. You're not the only one saying that. There's a whole bunch of people saying that. I would caution you about saying that, because in order for him to be a pedophile, she has to be underage, and she wasn't underage. Now you can say you can say, yeah, but to me that's totally off limits. But unless you've known him to have committed any type of indecent act with
In
somebody,
other
depending on
words,
what's
he ain't Trump
right,
or
and
Jeffrey Epstein or
right,
Prince Andrew.
right, right. And every state has a different right. Every state has a different law of consent. It's crazy as hell. Some states are 15.
And Georgia's 16.
And yeah, but that's still when you look at what definition can you give except that when you look at a kid. Well, what I would this is what I would say, and I know this is stretching it. I'm gonna see how Kenneth feels about this. Are you a kid? Okay, when are you no longer a kid? At what legal age are you no longer a kid? Because at 18, they can literally go and sign up for the military without you. And you put a gun in their hand, and tell them that they can shoot and kill somebody and take their life. And you send them off to boot camp for 16 weeks. And now again, for somebody like Kenneth and I, we were just going, little girl, if you don't go somewhere, that's what we would say, right? Can't you hear yourself saying, little girl, if you don't go somewhere? You know,
it wouldn't even be a thing of wouldn't even be a thing of I wouldn't even give it a thought, not a first or a second thought about having any type of relationship with her. I mean, if anything, I'd be like, hey, here's a picture, here's my son. Go call my son. You his age.
Yeah.
Right. Go hit up the remix. Hit up the remix. He's a younger version of me. Hit him up.
Kenneth, I'm gonna tell you something. I thought you might. I remember when my daughter was 16, going to her senior high school, at high school, and they had 2 arena football players come in and be substitute teachers to earn extra money. 22 and 23. And I remember my wife saying, that's a dumb idea. I remember my wife that was dumb. And I was like, why would you say that's dumb? And she's like, because 16 and 17-year-old girls get what 16 and 17-year-old girls want. And you just don't put them guys into a situation where they don't have the self-control not to do anything. You should never put them in that school. Maybe you put them in an elementary school. As she said, 2 handsome guys in great shape around some 16 and 17-year-old juniors and seniors.
Well, that's a recipe for disaster.
That's what she said. And people would say, call that close to pedophilia, right? If they were 17 about to turn 18, or they were 18 seniors in high school, you still would say it's inappropriate. But if they were 18, it's not pedophilia. Is what it was. Again, if this is, you all have a rule that you can't have a relationship with people that you're in charge of, and that what your teacher rules.
Yeah,
like that?
It's not not fraternization, but it's along those lines. Definition along those lines. It's like a student, you can't have a relationship with a student. And matter of fact, even after they graduate, they're gonna look at you like, hold on,
right?
When did this start?
Right.
So it's one of those situations now.
Right. So I'm just careful about pedophile, calling him a pedophile. I hear what you're saying. I don't think he groomed her because he didn't know her. I'm curious. I'll honestly, aren't you curious about how they met, Kenneth? Did she slide into his DMs? Did he slide into hers? Because I don't know why he would have to slide into anybody's DMs. Why would he have to slide into anybody's DMs? I would think that he getting enough requests that he can't even keep up with.
I don't know. The whole thing is strange to me. And I'm being real honest. This whole situation makes no sense to me because he putting himself in this situation was not called for. He gained nothing from it. Nothing from
his discernment is shot.
Yeah. Is you jeopardize all this money you're making. Has he ever been married? Does he have any children or anything like that? I've never heard of him being married or having
3 children. One daughter. He has 3 children. I think he has one daughter that's like 26. I can look it up. 26. Yeah. He has a daughter. And it's like you just said, dude, that's discernment. That's like, bro, after the first close call, when they were talking about taking my sponsorships, and I really got off like a clown because brothers like, boy, he sure was giving it. Even women was like, boy, he sure was giving it to her. You know, older. I saw that all over social media. Well, I wish I was whoever. I mean, you already got a pass on that one, but you almost lost your sponsorships.
Oh, he's a grandpa? Wow. I didn't
Wow.
know that.
Okay, well, I mean, it's not like, look, I'm a grandfather. What the hell that mean? That I can't watch a badass woman walk into the room, whether she's 21 or 22 or 25. I can glance and go, that's a beautiful woman. But it ain't for me. Looking is not a crime. Looking is a human trait.
Oh, yeah. But
Because
I just never, is he losing too much for his ego to be stroked? That's all he's doing is getting his ego stroked. And he was getting mad props. Like I said, that tape, whether he leaked it or however it got out, I don't know how it got out, or he hit. No, it wasn't a tape. It was on Instagram Live or something like that.
Right?
Yeah, it was on Instagram Live. Whether he did it intentionally or whether or not it was a mistake or whatever, however it happened, it upped his profile tremendously. Tremendously, it upped his profile. Women were like killing themselves to get with his brother. And now you go mess up everything that you have. You parlayed that into a contract with Rose Sparks. You own the upswing. You got all this stuff going on. Why would you jeopardize all of that? It ain't that deep. And now he's realized. And then also let's look at the elephant in the room too. And I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead, because I was about to say it.
She's also a young white girl. Now,
white or Hispanic?
Well, I think
which y'all ain't feeling.
Let's say this: if she's Hispanic, damn it, she looked more white than Hispanic, but she's living her life as a white girl. I can tell you that much now. Either way, the history of black men in America and how we have had some of our ancestors, some of our uncles, great uncles, great uncles, blah blah blah, all this going back and forth, being lynched because they just look at a white woman. And here it is, you are jeopardizing everything that you have going on just for that. Just as you can have another notch in your belt, just so you can have say, yeah, man, I got me a little young tenderoni, a little 19-year-old, little 20-year-old, fellas, yeah. And the fellas give you props. Your boys like, yeah. Shit, not me. I tell them in heartbreak, you a dumbass. You a straight dumbass.
What's the boom and the double boom for? And I'm gonna address something that Evan Williams, who's a friend of yours, Kenneth, said. Because this conversation go all off, and Kenneth, to tell you, I'm a very, very careful person about throwing characterizations at people. And what has ever led you to believe that Shannon Sharpe is gay? And if Shannon Sharpe is gay, who gives a fuck? I mean, I'm just curious. What has ever led anybody to believe, except your own subjective opinions, that he's zesty? I don't get zesty from Shannon Sharpe.
No, I get zesty is not. Well,
where is he zesty? What makes him zesty? Because a 6'4" big goddamn buff dude that like he can whoop your ass don't come across as zesty to me. And I done seen some zesty people living in Atlanta. He don't come across as zesty to me. I've always wondered when men say that Shannon is zesty. I mean, give me an example of him being zesty. And it can't be his fashion. What is zesty? I'm just curious what zesty is. He's putting out fire. What is zesty? What is it? I mean, shit. Zesty. I mean, what does that mean? Zesty. I've never seen him be feminine. Now you can say he has a gay personal assistant. We know he's gay, but that does not make him zesty. So we got to be real careful about what we're saying without proof. I mean, so I'm just curious, Kenneth, what is zesty? Help me, because I don't know. I'm always trying to figure out what exactly is. What do you mean?
Okay, I didn't know what you were telling until I read what he said. I never thought of him as being gay.
Feminine. Shannon Sharpe is Shannon Sharpe's feminine to you? Shannon Sharpe never came across feminine to me. Shannon Sharpe ain't one of them dudes I'm about to walk up on. No way, no shape, no form, no how. And that's when dudes say feminine, I'm always thinking that you got the balls to walk up to him and tell him he's feminine to his face. And that don't come across Shannon. I don't mean walking up with your gun. I'm talking about walking up, having the balls to walk up and say, "Boy, you mighty feminine to me," because you know what that means. That means that you think you could take me. That's what that means. And unless you think you could take 480-pound benching, still bench squatting 460, 6'4", Shannon Sharp, country boy from Glenville, Georgia, but I have at it.
I don't get that, but people see things. I don't see it. I don't see it. There's a possibility that he might be, but I never thought about it like that. I never noticed him like that. Never paid. To be quite honest, I ain't never paid attention to him that much anyway.
No, I watch his video. I've seen his show. Cat.
Yeah, I've seen his show. Yeah.
Cat.
I've seen his show.
I said masculine dudes and shit. Well, I ain't anyone. So I don't know anyone can see it. I've seen some of his fashion choices that I thought to myself, and I wouldn't have wore that, like the blue sweater he wore at the game when he got into with John Morant's daddy.
Actually, that's a nice sweater. I like that sweater.
See?
I like that sweater. I like that sweater.
But
everybody can't pull that sweater off. I could pull it off. Matter of fact, I was looking to see where can I get that damn sweater.
Hey, look, man, I stopped calling men feminine when Prince came out and started stealing everybody girl. That went out the window for me. He doesn't make the garter.
Harry said he doesn't make the garter.
The gaydar.
Oh, gaydar.
Black women, the gaydar.
Oh,
the gaydar.
Oh,
black women we normally know.
I ain't heard that phrase in a long time.
Why would he put up all the little? He wanted y'all here pounding. Because it makes us talk about him. And because if you know that the YouTube algorithm pays you a certain amount of money for over 1 million people. So the Cat Williams video is right now up to 89 million people. And he said on his show that the check that he got from the Cat Williams video was more money than any NFL check he ever got by far. He was about to sign a $100 million deal. He has 2 other popular podcasts. The Jeff Teague podcast. Did you know this? I didn't know the Jeff Teague podcast was under Shannon Sharp's production. Didn't have a clue. That's well over 1 million people. Yeah. Oh, Jeff Teague got a podcast, super popular podcast talking about basketball. He's hilarious. Jeff Teague is hilarious. And now you're thinking there's some characteristics about a man that would say he could be gay, but today say no one cares. I guess I don't know why anyone would be hiding. I'm just saying I've never gotten it from him. So maybe Everett got it. It's just a subjective thing. I'm not trying to dog him out. I just want to know what people's definition of this, because as I said, we got to watch. We can say stuff on. I'm willing to say stuff on air, but I'm not willing to kill people's character on air without proof. That's not who and what I am, and I'll shut you down in a minute for that. We can speculate, but goddamn it, come with some receipts. Because I can literally say that somebody's a pedophile on this show, and I have no proof. And once you start planting seeds for people, it grows on their own. And I don't have a clue, so I'm very careful about saying it. So that's why I responded, he's a grandpa. You respond, he's a grandpa in relation to what?
No, when he was talking about if he has any children.
Okay.
And
okay.
That's what he said. Yeah, he's a grandpa.
And I agree. I agree with Tammy, though.
It's the whole thing. Now, I will say he's an attention whore. He wants attention. He loves attention. But also, too, that also, when you get that attention, that also makes your money, gives you more money. Now, he hurt himself with this one. And the other thing, too, that's the other thing, too. Why is he recording every time he have sex?
He only did it once. I mean, are you talking about, look, man, look, can we not start?
I'm trying to figure out, like,
but look,
can we? Is it like self-protection stuff? Because it is actually a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
Because this, what that did is shut down any lawsuit that she came up with. It shut it down. We're like, hold on now. This is what you said you wanted. And this is what we did. And you consented to it. It wasn't me. This was you. So it's a very, very good idea considering his status. And I don't know if he started doing it because he likes to hear the results later on down the line. I mean, I was putting it down on this here, all that. If that's part of it, or if he's just doing it because of self-preservation. I don't know which one it is, but either way, it actually saved him in this lawsuit. Because
I was going to say, Kenneth, when I was on the road with a well-known rapper with my artists, and the managers would get together and talk. One of the things he told me he did with the kids' security is they had adjoining rooms. They had adjoining rooms, and he had to keep his door cracked at all times. They had adjoining rooms. He wouldn't go in that room, but he'd keep the door cracked. He'd keep the door cracked, and he'd stay up, because if he heard anything that he thought was off, or a no that might not be taken as a no, or something he would walk in and tell the girl she had to leave. Yeah. That's what he did. And so now you're saying, well, why would he video it? I think that
I understand. I understand why he's doing it. It makes sense.
I understand why he's doing it. Absolutely. And look, man, can we not start getting into what people do in their bedrooms and start throwing judgments about it? Well, why did they record it? They might like going back and looking at their videos. As long as they ain't like Tammy would say, as long as they're not dealing with no people underage, who the hell am I to sit there and judge? As far as everything he's recorded, yeah, right now, and you better be rest assured that he can record everything now. Well, no, I don't think he's gonna go out for a while right now, because he just got another lawsuit.
The rest of his life, he's gonna be recording.
Yeah, he just got another lawsuit filed at him yesterday from a lady from 2000. His assistant, and she got some receipts. She got receipts. Like she had went to court and took restraining order.
What did she say he did?
Hers was way worse, and she took out a restraining order out of him. And it said somebody came to her house, and she went down there immediately and pulled a restraining order. She got receipts. I think that he has allowed people to judge him when he records. What he's doing in his bedroom, that's the whole point. Was on social media. Once you put it out there, absolutely, we agree with that. Once you put it on social media. But he didn't put he put the Instagram tape on social media, right? Because that was live. He didn't put this one on social media. He said that she had the tape. He didn't have the tape. He said release the whole tape, is what he told Tony Busby. But it still comes back down to y'all one thing that Kenneth said in the beginning. My daughter said, well, you got to have better discernment than that at 57 years old. At least I would think you would have better discernment than it, right? You know what we're talking about? That's all I hear grown men talking about our age. Like, bro, what was he thinking? Like literally, what was he thinking? Like you, little girl, you way too young. Like Kenneth said, you got a mama that look like you? That's the best line today. What your mama look like? Because
at our age, a 20-year-old, hold up, let's go. Where your grandma at? Because grandma around our age, I want somebody, if I'm gonna do something like that, I want somebody around my age. As what's his name? Sinbad said, I need somebody that can recognize the signs of a stroke. I need somebody like that. I can't deal with no. No. I want no younger. No, don't want no younger. This stuff that's just crazy to me. The whole scenario is crazy to me. I want somebody to understand when I got a problem and I can't talk. She like, oh, this motherfucker going through something. That's what I want.
Hey, but we don't have $100 million either. Kenneth, I haven't told you.
Hey, even with $100 million, you know what? You know what I've been thinking about? This is crazy. Well, not
go
crazy.
For it. What?
She's not in her 50s, but she's probably in her 40s.
Oh,
I was like, man. And that if I was in position, you know who I would be trying to kick it with?
Oh,
Angela Rye.
Oh,
but she's too smart for him. Let's just say that he ain't on her level.
Nah, she's too smart, and I would think she's too. I would think that she's too call you on your shit.
Right.
She's too. Why would you do that? But she would be doing it out of concern and her love. Why would you do that? If she. But I don't know if I don't know.
That wouldn't work. But I'm saying, if I had $100 million, this is Kenny Lively talking. Kenny Lively had $100 million. I'd be every time Angela Rye's at an event, I'd be looking for Angela Rye. That's that. If you gonna go that she has, and we going way far afield of what it is, but it just popped into my head. I've been thinking about this. That's the level. That's what I'm looking for. Something like a woman like that. That's what I would be looking for.
I want to say this,
and I was about to talk about that, Marion.
What, Marion? What about?
I'm
gonna say this last thing, and then you can go to Tracy Ellis Ross came up with my daughter's conversation. I'm gonna say this about the $100 million. Listen, I've said this to people before. Your viewpoint on life, where we are, people watching this show, the viewpoint at 100 million celebrity is totally different. The rules are not even the same. I've seen it. I've been in those rooms. The rules that you set for yourself, those are not the rules in those situations. It's not even close. It's me trying. It's Kenneth and I had this conversation. It's the Deshaun Watson thing. When folks are like, why would he? How would he ever do this many girls? And I tell them, man, if you break it down, it wasn't as many girls you think it was, or what he could have done as a 23-year-old making $27 million a year. Because every place he walks, somebody's throwing it at him, from McDonald's to the convenience store, and it's coming like water out of a water hose. And until you can fathom it, you can see it, and it's hard to wrap your head around it. But I'm telling you, it happens. So go ahead, Kenneth, talk about Shedeur Sanders. What you want to talk about? The knowing the rules should make you more cautious. Wait. Knowing the rules should make you more cautious, not do shit. True. Absolutely true. But I promise you, until you've been in a room and watched it, and you watch how people respond, and you watch how people respond to celebrity, and you watch mothers who have tried to give their daughters away to the artists I was representing, you watched it and how they approached you, you won't believe it until you see it, because you're going, this got to be a joke. But it ain't a joke. And when you're Shannon Sharpe at his level at 57, about to do $100 million deal, celebrity, that's why we got the president we got. This is exactly why we got the president we got. But anyway, go ahead about and talk about Bill Cosby has shown us having $2 billion doesn't keep you. Oh, no. You getting that all this week with Shedeur Sanders. Go ahead. That's a good segue, Tammy. I told you you'd come on to the show. Go ahead, Kenneth. That's what Kenneth wants to talk about all day anyway. Go for it.
Well, not all day, but there was other stuff. But this is actually something that I've been thinking about since the last couple of days. Shedeur Sanders, and those of you know who he is. He's the son of Deion Sanders, starting quarterback for Colorado. Had over 4,000 yards passing, had over 70% completion rating, which is ridiculous. That's ridiculously high. Had all of that. Had everything. He has a high football IQ, which is something that they've talked about. They want a quarterback with a high football IQ. He knows football. This kid grew up in football. He was trained. And this is something that's crazy to me. Trained by Tom Brady. Tom Brady would train this kid. Okay, this is how you react to this situation. This is what I did, blah, blah, blah. He trained the kid. He had training his entire life from people at a high level, people who train quarterbacks. The most winningest Super Bowl, the Super Bowl most winningest quarterback. The quarterback that's won the most Super Bowls actually trained this kid. And you mean to tell me this kid is not worthy of being drafted in the first, second, third round? That is ridiculous. And people have been making excuses for what's going on. You have teams, and Leonard probably doesn't look at the NFL as much. I'm a huge football fan. I love the NFL and all that. But this shows the hypocrisy of the owners, the GMs, and the coaches. They're saying that, well,
Marion just triggered. I'm gonna jump in his ass, Kenneth. So Marion just triggered me, so I'm gonna jump his ass. So go ahead, so I can get on it.
They haven't offered any legitimate reason why. I've heard people say, well, he's arrogant. or he, no. Well, they say he's confident, but they're saying it, portraying it like he's arrogant. And this is why this triggered me. And this is going away from them, but this is my personal thing. When I first moved to Atlanta, I was working for the DeKalb County Police Department. And one night I was sitting with my field training officer. He said some stuff. He told me we had to do a detail, and I didn't know we had to do it. They told him he had to do it, but they never mentioned me. So I was like, "Oh," I'll say, "You fucked up, fucked too." We laughed about it. A few minutes later, he asked me about, well, why are you getting law enforcement so late? And I told him, hey, my story, master's, worked on got my master's, worked on my doctorate and all this and all that before I got into law enforcement. His whole attitude toward me changed. Now all of a sudden he goes to our lieutenant, tell the lieutenant I said I wasn't gonna do the detail. And I was like, oh, this is some shit. I was called arrogant. People disliked me who didn't even know me. And I've had people tell me that shit. They didn't even know me, had never had a conversation about me, a conversation with me, knew nothing about my background, all this stuff. I was called a New Yorker because I had just moved from New York. Oh, he's a New Yorker. People arguing with me where I'm from. No, I'm from Augusta, Georgia. No, you're not. Yes, I am. That's the same thing that they're attributing to Shedeur Sanders. If you're a black man and you are confident in your abilities, you are considered arrogant. Now, if you're white and you're confident in your abilities, you're considered confident, a leader, all of that stuff. But well, nobody wants to deal with his daddy. What do you mean he want to deal with his daddy? His daddy's not going to be on the team. His daddy's not coaching them anymore. Deion is, for all intents and purposes, said, I'm done. This is on him now. I raised a good young man, and people who've actually personally met him, and I've seen story after story after story, people talking about how humble he is. He's a really nice kid. Deion raised him right. But you got people in the NFL who won't even say anything, don't even know him. Yeah, he had a bad meeting. He came across as being arrogant, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll bring up the fact of what he said. Deion said he wasn't gonna go to certain teams. I remember when
Archie Manning
said the same thing about Eli.
Twice. Did it twice.
So I'm sitting there like, how? So they did that with Eli, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, Shedeur is a whole lot coming out of college, a whole lot better football player, quarterback that Eli was coming out of Ole Miss. Whole lot better. Not even close. Not even close.
Close?
I said, no, not even close. Deion is a whole lot better than Eli.
Coming out of college.
With Eli, yeah.
Shit, not only had Eli's arm strength. And I'm not taking away from Shedeur. I'm just questioning that statement. Nothing else.
But I'm talking about the other intangibles. And arm strength don't mean anything. Let's say this. Arm strength don't mean anything when you got that type of accuracy. When he can throw a 40-yard pass down there and drop it in his receiver's arms in full stride. Dude, it don't make a difference about your arm strength. Because ain't nobody throwing those 65-yard touchdown passes. Ain't nobody doing that. It's 65 yards in the air.
I know you're tired of me saying let's stop doing stuff. But do we really want to compare him to a 2-time Super Bowl champion MVP?
Oh man, come on, dude. Do it real. I'm comparing him when he was in college. I ain't saying nothing about pros.
Look, Marion's been a troll. College. Marion's been a troll, but I'm gonna get on him in a minute.
But the thing is, my whole thing is, people talk about the negative stuff, and he might not have the arm strength and all that. He may come across as arrogant for people who don't recognize confidence when they see it. But the upside to this young man is tremendous. And the kid, no matter what you think, the kid is a winner. He's a winner. If he had had a line at Colorado, imagine what they could have done if he had a line and a running back. He got killed, got sacked so many times.
I was
gonna have a line.
I was gonna jump in on that one. I want to say this to Marion. I have not watched a lot of professional football, but I've watched a few Colorado games. I watched at least 4. And I went back, looked at the stats. He was sacked 93 times in the last 2 years. And he sat there and he took that punishment while he was making some throws.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to quarterbacks, you gotta want somebody that knows that hit's coming, but they sit there and they make that throw. And
never complained.
Right.
That's the other part too.
He never complained. His lineman said he never complained. And
that's another lie they said about it. He threw his lineman under the bus. He never did that.
Never complained. His lineman said he never complained. And under the spotlight of knowing that the whole world was watching you to watch your daddy fail. Because let's be honest with you, they were watching to watch Deion fail. They really weren't watching to watch Shedeur fail. Now, could I have done without the Lamborghinis and blah, blah, blah? Personally, yeah. But that's me personally. And I think that it's telling that you aren't just getting this from Black men who watch football. You're saying a lot of white analysts, except Merrill Hodge, who is bullshit. I think Merrill's bullshit. I don't give a damn when he said, well, I studied film. Bro, come on. You didn't know Tom Brady was going to be as good as he was. Nobody did. Nobody did. And Tom didn't play in anywhere near or Eli the spotlight that kid played in. Every week, people were coming for his head. Oregon's coach came for his head. The coach of Nebraska that keeps getting jobs, he came for his head. Colorado State, they were coming for his head, and he was standing up and throwing that ball in the pocket. It's nowhere in the world he's not a first round pick. It's nowhere in the world he's not a second round pick. I do believe that what we ought to address, and I think quite a few of the white analysts I've seen talk about, they won't say what I'm about to say. There's an inherent bias either from the GMs who talk amongst each other, because we know collusion happens. They talked amongst each other.
Yeah.
We know collusion. We know the NFL owns, or there's some collusion, because we know it happened, because we know Lamar didn't get picked up by the Falcons. Remember, Lamar went to free agent and didn't even get an offer from anybody. What was it, 2 years ago? Remember Lamar was hit free agent, didn't get an offer, and Atlanta needed a quarterback, and we didn't even give him an offer. Not only Atlanta, everybody else. We know there was some collusion.
Oh.
And they did that. No, remember Lamar Jackson was a restricted free agent 2 years ago.
I said that was stupid that they didn't offer him.
Right, they didn't even offer him. And so to sit here and say that he's going to draft down and you picking up quarterbacks, like you have quarterback hungry teams. Now you don't even have to pay him the max. Now he doesn't even have a guaranteed salary, right? Hit after the second round, he doesn't have a guaranteed salary. You don't take a flyer. But I said the same thing about Russell Wilson. I want to address something that Marion said earlier about Vince Young. I get triggered when people talk about Vince Young, because anybody that knows about Vince Young knows that Jeff Fisher ruined Vince Young's career. Jeff Fisher ruined his career, period. Vince Young led the Tennessee Titans to the playoffs when Jeff Fisher finally was forced to put him under quarterback. Vince Young had the greatest statistical game in the history of the NCAA against the defending national champions, USC. And USC had 9 people drafted in the first round that year. And Vince Young shredded them. It's not about, just like me and Kenneth agree on, it's not about just arm strength. Tom Brady didn't have the strongest arm. It's about intangibles. Mm-hmm. And I read that article since Kenneth talked about Tom Brady's like, no, Shedeur calls me all the time. He'll call me. He said, I'll even look at his games. He'll call me and say, hey, what'd you think about that? He said, I'll break down the games from that. Just like he said, when I was in this situation, I did this. He said, man, Tom Brady said, me and Shedeur text and called each other all of the time. Like they were friends. So it's something else going on. And you know it's something else going on right now, because if you jump on, I'm not even on Twitter, if you jump on social media right now, NFL football players are now starting to call it out. NFL football players are staying this
I
ridiculous.
mean, hold on. They last night, I don't know who it was. Seattle drafted what's his name? Jalen or Justin Melrose from Alabama.
Jalen
He
Milroe.
had a horrible year. He had a horrible year last year. He had a decent year last year.
Right. On an Alabama team
Had
with
a
what?
horrible year.
2 All-Americans at the offensive line? Come on, man.
Yeah, and he had a better line. He had a receiver. That wasn't for Travis Hunter. He wouldn't. I'm like, come on now.
Great defense.
Justin Melrose has a kid that's gonna go in the first round. That receiver he got gonna go in the first round. That kid is a beast.
The freshman. Right.
Yeah, he's a beast. He came out the box, killing them. And just Melrose couldn't do anything. So don't sit here and tell me it's about his arm strength, his decision making. It ain't about that. That's a bunch of bullshit. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call out. That's a bunch of white people bullshit. Because that's the shit that they saying.
Yeah, but I'm surprised.
That's literally the shit that they saying.
I was surprised Mike Tomlin didn't pick him up. Like, why don't you pick him up on a flyer?
And Mike Tomlin brought him up there for a workout. And they said, well, he didn't go to the combine. A lot of players don't go to the combine. What difference does the combine make? He had a private workout. What difference does the combine make? If you really want to see what he got, first of all, combine don't mean shit. Let's be real. Combine don't mean shit. You got quarterbacks throwing, ain't nobody rushing them. They got time, they throwing it to one receiver. They ain't got to read no defense. It's nothing like that. So a combine don't mean shit to me. If you base on whether or not you're going to get a player on the combine, that means you ain't never seen that player play. Now, if you want to look and see, okay, how fast is this player and all that, you put stock in and stuff like that, okay, cool. I give you that. What their 40 speed is and all that stuff, how well you tell them something, they get it right the first time, okay, I get that. But they do the exact same thing at a pro day.
Wait. Address that. Marion, whoa. I don't know who your 4-ring Super Bowl player you talking about. He's talking about a skill set that the NFL don't even value. The NFL values quarterbacks that can sit in the pocket. The NFL values quarterbacks that can step up in the pocket. The NFL value there are only 2 Lamar Jacksons in the league. Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson. That's it. That's a unique skill set. Everybody else are drop back quarterbacks who can sit in the pocket. No matter what your friend says, I don't have to watch all tape, but I can tell you I watch enough game to sit there and think, man, he getting killed. And the bottom line is I don't throw the ball. I can't throw the ball away, but maybe 4 times a game. I got to give the receivers that I have at my disposal a chance to separate and get open before I can throw that ball. And I got to anticipate get open. All of them weren't Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter runs what, a 4.240? The rest of the receivers didn't run a 4.240. I'm not saying they bad because any receiver that makes a college football team is a good receiver.
And they were actually pretty good. The rest of them was actually pretty good too. They decent. They'll get picked up by somebody.
Bro, let's say something about Josh Allen. You can talk about Josh Allen, but Josh Allen's first 2 years in the league, he was making dumbass decisions with all of that athletic ability. Decisions that would have got him benched by anybody else. Dumb decisions. Josh Allen grew into that role, but Josh Allen didn't play nowhere near the competition that Shedeur Sanders played. Josh was at Wyoming. Who the hell Wyoming play? It don't even come close. I don't know.
Yeah, they always talk about, well, they need to play in the SEC. SEC is not the only league.
Everybody can't play in the SEC anyway.
And let's be real. And hold up. And this is another thing too that I said something, responded to something. They have been dogging Shedeur Sanders since he decided not to go to a PWI and decided to go to Jackson State. Let's be real. Let's go back to his decision to go with his dad to Jackson State. They have been dogging him ever since because he was projected to go to one of the power schools.
I don't know.
They were recruiting him, And they thought he was going. I don't know. Was it Florida? They thought he was going to go to Florida State because that's where his dad went. But there was another school that he might have committed to before that. I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was Florida State. It was another school. It might have been Florida or something like that. He had committed to. And then when his dad got the job at Jackson State, he decided to go to Jackson State.
I would ask Marion, was he a freshman at Jackson State when he got crucified, or was he a sophomore? It's two different things. Here's the thing, Marion. I will say this, and we agree to disagree on this. The level of competition that he played at to throw, and ask your friend this, the level of competition he played at to have over 4 300-yard games with no offensive line, and nobody denies he didn't have an offensive line. Nobody denies he didn't have an offensive line. All 93 of his sacks that you said, all 93 of them were not quarterback decisions. For your friend to say that means that let's say he said 30% of them were. He had no line. The line was horrible. The line he just didn't have the top for the league. But what Deion
and didn't have a running back either.
Yeah, he didn't have a running
game.
Didn't have a running back,
especially the first year. They had a kind of decent one this year, but for the most part, they threw the ball most of the time because that's all they could do.
I don't think the NFL tried to teach Shador a lesson. I teach the NFL. I think people were feeling Deion needed to have a coming up. That's what I believe. I believe that there are people in the league that have never liked Deion because Deion is brash and Deion backs up his talk. We can all sit here and honestly say, man, there was a lot of people that were mad that Deion went to Colorado, particularly, Kenneth, you know this, particularly when he flipped Travis Hunter to Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
Because you flipped the number one recruit in the country, unanimous number one recruit from Florida State to Jackson State, meant that you were putting a dent in the power structure. Like you made it okay to go to HBCUs. You made it okay. And they had none of the facilities that Campbell had. My friend was drafted in the first round by Pittsburgh. And I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that I know professional football better than
so
him.
What does that have to do with this? This ain't 1973.
What I am saying, and it's a different game. What I am saying is, but look, he of all people should know then. This is what I would say. I would ask him this. Bro, you played with Terry Bradshaw, one of the best quarterbacks ever to sit in the pocket and take a hit. I watched Shador's games. Like I said, I watched at least 4 of them. All 4 of them, I don't know what Kenneth was. I was like, boy, he need an offensive line. Yeah, and I also watched him do stuff, and I'll go, boy, that was a hell of a throw. Boy, how he did that in that tight window. Boy,
dropping a 40-yard bomb right in the receiver's arm while he's moving.
Right. I've seen him make some throws that were unbelievable throws. Josh Allen was not a polished quarterback coming out of Wyoming at all. They just talked about him being 6'4" with a rifle arm. That's it. He didn't have any accuracy coming out. And all we're saying is this. It's about not feeling Deion's history. Oh, yeah, I agree. All we're saying is this. I think it's what Kenneth's saying. He wasn't even drafted last night. Like you take no chances on drafting him last. Matter of fact, it's an upshot. It's just, you know what? How about this? None of us agree that Bronny was ready for the NBA. He just wasn't, which is why he went to the G League. But it was an upside because he had the highest selling jersey in the league. He had he was in LA even with that. It was an upside. I keep Bronny and this guy, he's selling paraphernalia. There was a chance that you didn't lose anything by trying to draft Shador after the second round. Nothing. Matter of fact, you might have got a Jim, right, Kenneth? You might have got a Tom Brady. But some of the stuff they were saying,
the stuff that their logic doesn't make any sense. None of their logic makes any sense. It does not. I don't care who says it. I don't give a damn what position you play. You play in the NFL. I don't give a shit. Everybody knows this kid is a whole lot better than majority of the quarterbacks that they picked up. I don't care what under no metrics is Jalen Melrose better than Shedeur Sanders.
I agree with that.
None.
I agree with that.
I don't care what league. And I've always said this too. And I want people to get off this bullshit that because you go to a certain school that you are better, or you play in a certain league that you are better. Because that's just the same shit that people use when they say that because you're a graduate of HBCU, you're not as smart as somebody who went to a PWI. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit. That's some racist bullshit that y'all have ingested and won't let that shit go. That's what that is.
So what
this is the same thing. So you're trying to tell me that Marion keeps bringing up the SEC. He keeps bringing up the SEC. You really and truly believe that Shedeur Sanders couldn't have played in the SEC? Let's be real. He couldn't have played in the SEC.
I don't.
If he had played in the SEC, he would have won the damn Heisman.
I believe from top to bottom, from player number 1 to play. How many people on the team? 55. The player number 55. When you're talking about the SEC is far and wide, and particularly now that you got Oklahoma and Texas. I understand why people say the level of competition, because like they say, every week in and week out, you can't take a day off. That's why I think the SEC eats itself. Now, do I think Shedeur could have played for Alabama? Oh, absolutely. I would love to see Shedeur play for Alabama. Absolutely. I would love to have seen Shedeur play for Alabama. With that line, I would have loved to have seen it. Absolutely.
Dude, if he was at Georgia, he would have killed him.
I would have loved to have
won two back-to-back championships.
I'm not saying Tuskegee couldn't beat Mercer. What I am saying is that
hold on. Everybody can be beat. Let's be real, Marion. Stop all that bullshit, Marion. You on some bullshit today. He trolling for real today. Anybody can be beat. One play. All it takes is one play.
See, Marion, there you go.
Anybody can be beat because that's where they come. Any given Sunday, Mercer's quarterback can throw 5 interceptions and lose the game. There could be Well,
I'm curious. That Marion's friend said he shouldn't be drafted. That's what I want to know. Are you saying that your friend said he shouldn't be drafted? Because surely he's not saying that. Surely, you know. Oh, and by the way, something you didn't bring up. The Tennessee quarterback that's getting killed for what he did. Tennessee's quarterback. No, Tennessee, the college player, the Amalika, trying to ask for 4.5 and the coach.
Oh, him. Yeah. He was nowhere near as good as Shedeur.
5. He was a bad freshman year. But it's no way that you're not going to tell me he shouldn't be drafted. It's just he said he wasn't a number 1 to 2 draft choice.
So was number 1 to 2 in the first round, or first? He wasn't a first or second rounder.
No, you mean the first rounds. I'm assuming you're talking about the first 2 rounds, or number 1, number 2 in the draft itself. Because unless Pittsburgh knows something I don't know, Pittsburgh don't have a quarterback.
They don't.
And Mike Tomlin must think he had a hell of a dude that he think he can handle Aaron Rodgers and his weird ass. You know, who gonna do what he wants to Aaron Rodgers at that point? He's like, he don't care what.
This is another thing. I don't understand people's obsession with people's obsession, team's obsession with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is 10 years, well, let's say 6 years past his prime.
Yeah.
Let's give you real. He's done. When you tear your Achilles and nobody touches you, you take a step and tear your Achilles, you should retire. That was God's way of telling you, go ahead and retire. It's over with now.
I agree. First 2 rounds, okay, I'm going to give you the first. I disagree, but he wasn't even drafted in round number 3. When you, Kenneth, not saying, that's what the NFL football players saying. Wait a minute. When you get to round 3, you taking a flyer on anybody when you get to round 3. So when you get to round 3, you're taking a flyer on anyone at round 3. But, hey, man, look, I got to get out of here. Y'all, we running over time. I got to get out of here. I got someplace I got to be. and my battery running dead like crazy. But when you went round 3, you're taking a flyer. You still here, Kenneth?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're taking a flyer in round 3. He didn't get drafted last night. I thought that once I woke up this morning, found out he getting drafted. I was like, oh, somebody's sending a statement. That's what I thought. Somebody's sending a statement and they can't prove it. That somebody's sending a statement. I thought the statement was going to Deion. And but you know me, Kenneth knows where I sit. I think every 1 and 5 and 4 star athlete coming out of anywhere are to make Colorado their number 1 choice if they can, and then choose everybody else. I thought they should be running to Deion. I think Deion tries his best to raise men. Deion tries his best to is he like a lot of attention? Yeah, but that don't bother me because Deion back it up. And I've heard some stories outside of football about Deion that talks about what kind of quality guy he is. I thought Deion comes in and says what he means about people doing their work and going to class. I've seen him on video saying, "You ain't going to class, you ain't gonna be on my team," which is what you need from somebody. And I thought Deion is about Deion, because of his experience at Florida State, is about making those college players their money. And he thought the system was always unfair. And he was trying to make those players on his team all the NIL money. That might be the most money they ever make in their life, is that exposure. Yeah. So and I do believe overall that there are a lot of white coaches in this white system, collegiate system, that are fearful that these players that they can't win without are going to start making different decisions. I believe that. And me and Mary, we talked about this. I think they send message. I think they thought that these players who generally make these decisions going to make them $7-8 million a year are making different decisions. And they don't like that the labor has a right to make the decision. So, but anyway, y'all, it's 11:12. Kenneth, go ahead and take.
All right, y'all. It's been a very good discussion.
Thanks, Tammy.
Yeah, it's been a very good discussion. And it's funny how we didn't even get to all the stupid stuff that Donald Trump was doing this today.
Oh my God, no. We're gonna start talking about more men issues, because that's what the women like talking about.
But I think this 2 topics that we did, ironically, sort of center around the same thing: Black men, race, and how we're perceived in this country. And we need to talk more about stuff like that. So, having said that, y'all have a good week. Y'all stay out of trouble, be safe, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Deuces.
Hey, look. That last statement he made, the first thing we talked about, me and him not gonna say that on air because he don't like me using that word. But that Negro just made a horrible decision. It was the dumbest decision ever. It was just I can't blame that on his race. That was just a dumb ass decision. And then you top it off with knowing how Black women feel about it, and knowing what type of trauma it's gonna cause, and knowing that Monique got on there and said, "Don't do it." You know what Monique said? Don't do it.
Yeah.
And you did it anyway, and you got all down back to normal. Oh my God, bro. Okay, I'll invite you next time. I'll send you an invite. I gotta get permission from Kenneth. He's like, Tammy gonna kill us if she get on the show. But I'll send you an invite.
She ain't gonna kill me, she gonna kill you.
Oh shoot, yeah, come on. Let's do it. All right, Tammy, come back. We'll be back on next Saturday at 10 a.m. Peace, y'all.